Okay, is this too close to you? Do you feel comfortable with that? I want to make sure
Hey y'all, it's Shindy. I am chilling in Marina Del Rey for the week. I'm cat sitting for my friend Lauren and for her boo. And I thought it'd be really great to show you all what it's like to be in Marina just for a little bit. I chatted with my friend about culture and community and relationships and money and all the things I'd be curious about if I was thinking about living here. And I also did an apartment tour, so go ahead and subscribe. That'll be my next video. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. One thing that I'm really passionate about is how we as people like relate to each other, connect with each other, build and grow relationships. And I feel like LA is really unique. I think it's very specific in that it's very hard to like grow, maintain, meet people, invest. People tend to be kind of flaky here. Like, you know, there's that stereotype.
Yeah.
So if like someone were thinking about coming to Marina Del Rey, coming to LA, like, I'd just be curious to hear all that good stuff. So feel free to start in any of the parts that I just started talking about.
Yeah, I love living down here. I love being in the marina right by the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, we walk out the door and, you know, we just have this beautiful view
so
of like
nice.
these boats, and we pretend that, you know, we're gonna be on one of those someday.
Yes. I was gonna ask if you owned a boat when I was like, does she own a boat?
We talk about it all the time. We're like houseboat. It's kind of like a little pocket down here too, because we're right by Santa Monica and Venice, but it's like there's not the tourism as much of like the homelessness that you see up there, but we're still really close to all like great restaurants on Abbot-Kinney and you know, 20-minute drive from Santa Monica.
The question I want to ask you is, what is something that someone who doesn't live here would only be able to like get or grasp once they started living here? If that makes sense as a question.
Just kind of like the chill beach vibe, probably.
Yeah.
I lived in Mar Vista, which isn't that far, you know, 3-4 miles from here. But it's totally different being down here close to the water. It's just quiet and calm and peaceful. Honestly, the loudest thing, especially at night, is the sea lions in the water.
You can hear sea lions? Oh, so there are sea lions in the water here?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's also so different from like sirens and ambulance sounds.
And I mean, I lived in New York City on 9th Avenue, like right next to Lincoln Tunnel. So compared to life in the city versus like, I mean, we're still in a city, but it's a nice, peaceful.
Is there like an emotional change in being, like, do you feel different being here, like in your body and in your spirit?
I feel like there's something about the light and the green here, and hence you can also see like a lot of the green
I'm gonna get B-roll of all the plants
themes in the apartment. I really love the brightness in here, and there's just a lot of plants and trees, and it's kind of makes me happy.
I'd love to hear about you building community in LA. Are you intentional about it? Have you thought about it in that way?
Not as intentional as I should be, for sure. I'm definitely like more of an introvert, and so for me to kind of go up to someone and like, even if, you know, we're having conversation, like say after a yoga class I'm chatting with someone, even then I still am not that type of person to be like, hey, you're cool, let's exchange numbers. So I definitely, like, I feel like I need to push myself, you know, out of that kind of comfort zone a little bit, just to like make that community. Since I grew up kind of in the valley, I do have friends that are local, but not like local, West Side local. You know, and a lot of them have families and they're kind of out in the valley, so I'll go visit them and spend an afternoon. But for local friends who I can just like, call up, hey, you want to grab a drink tonight? It's much harder. I have a few friends that I can do that with, but it's tough. I mean, I feel like just a kind of, I don't know if it's LA or a generation or what, it's like everyone is always like so busy, and you know, and it's like, but are we really so busy? What you doing? Yeah. So, or it's like you know, make plans like, oh, maybe like Saturday afternoon we'll hang out. And then Saturday afternoon comes around and it's like, oh, I'm like still wrapping up this and that. And I feel like plans are always very fluid, and so it's hard to, it's hard to nail things down. So.
Very tentative.
Yeah.
I had someone compliment me on that. She was like, you're very intentional about your plan.
It was amazing. When you were like, let's hang out Saturday at 1, and I was like, cool.
You gotta give a date and a time, you gotta do a calendar invite.
Yeah, it's tough, especially, it's like, you know, we go to college or like have environments where it's so easy to meet people. Even like when you're working at jobs, you can generally, you know, meet similar like-minded people there and maybe make some friends, but it just, I feel like that funnel kind of narrows very quickly as you get older, and
because you have to do all the work yourself. Like you literally can just show up to a job, show up to school, and
You have to be there.
we're like nothing else to do.
Yeah.
It's expected.
Yeah.
But I don't think that same expectation is there. I think once you leave the college, it's like relationship. Get in a relationship, and that's your person.
That's the other thing too. Yeah, it's definitely harder to sync up with either other couples or single friends, or maybe we're away for the weekend. And especially in LA, it's like this is a perfect place to make this your hub, and then go to camping for the weekend. Northern California, take a drive to San Diego, hop on a flight to Cabo.
Go to Hawaii.
Yeah. And so everyone's just always.
It was him.
Awkward. It
He was the
wasn't
one
me.
who was speaking
No,
just
it wasn't
now.
me. I was not establishing my voice.
What would you say for folks who are thinking about LA, who are thinking about this part of town, who are thinking about like creating a life for themselves in this city?
It's definitely like a melting pot of all different types of people, but I feel like that's LA in general too,
Yeah.
which I love about LA. New York's the same way, but
The vibe is very different because you did spend time in New York. How would you compare the vibes? I feel like I have an idea where it's like New York, it's like hustle, bustle, super passionate, or like everyone's like knocking each other on the street,
yeah.
you know.
It's definitely rougher. It's definitely, people are not as friendly. But I loved that there was always something to do.
Yeah.
You know, last night we were trying to figure out somewhere to go eat, and it's like, well, this place is closed. It was like 8:30. Well, this place is closing at 9. This place has an hour wait. I feel like in New York, I could just walk outside my apartment in New York and find a bar, food, a nail salon that was open at like 10 p.m.
And you put a nail salon at 10 p.m.?
Yes.
I was in the DC area. We're like a baby New York.
Yeah.
We had the brunch culture, we had diversity, the art scene, all these things, but it still was like government, it was the whole thing. It's a lot of like type A people. It was much more about like where do you work and what do you do and like where are you going and that ambition and all those things.
Yeah.
So, like,
I mean, there's definitely a lot of that in New York. I feel like there's that here too, but if people are more just want to know if you work in entertainment or not. I've never worked in entertainment and never really been a part of that world. Like a lot of people are like, oh, LA is like all entertainment focused, and I'm like, oh, it's not. Like,
not really.
Yeah.
So you work in tech, but you don't live in San Francisco. You live here in LA. How is that different? Because you also did spend time in San Francisco.
Yeah.
How is this different?
I like it here better. It's like a more low key, but you still can work for cool startups here that are well funded, but you don't have the competition that exists in San Francisco. That's what I struggled with. You know, I may have a really great background and skills, and then someone who's 24 and has a PhD and is willing to, you know, take a salary of $50K, you just can't compete because there's always someone who has more education and more qualifications. So it's just frustrating.
I think of other things that would be good for people who are thinking about this area to know, to think about.
Well, I was gonna say about stuff that people are interested in. I paddleboard in the marina, and so, you know, I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm a super.
Oh, is that the kitty?
That's their food.
Oh, that's their food. They're being fed right now. I'm gonna get that B-roll there. The internet loves cats.
Rona's just kind of slow.
They'll love this concept.
That was very procedural. Where I could just eat like a quarter.
I know,
of it and
he
then
eats a
move
little
to
bit
the
out of
other
her
one.
bowl and then moves the other one, yeah. I love that I can paddleboard on the water here. I love that I can go for walks in the neighborhood, and there's like beautiful multi-million-dollar homes. Not only are we close to the beach, but there's the Venice canals over here too. It's definitely just like a nice, peaceful environment to be outdoors in. We live a few blocks from Washington Boulevard. At the end of Washington Boulevard is basically like the Venice Pier. So there's a ton of bars at the end there. We're kind of on the border of Culver City a little bit too. So there's a lot of like great spots that you wouldn't expect to have really high quality farm to table type restaurants.
You mentioning farm to table makes me think about money. If people are broke trying to move to LA, I feel like Marina Del Rey they cannot afford it. Is that a correct assumption? You gotta get a couple roommates, make it work?
You could definitely make it work with a roommate here. Venice, there's a lot of places in Venice that are might be a little bit kind of older and like more like bungalow style houses that you could live in, but you definitely do that with roommates for under $1,500 a person for sure.
Pretty good.
Yeah. In Marina Del Rey, it's, gosh, I want to say it's only like 8,000 people. In this little
really
pocket.
small.
But there are down each of the bays of the marina, there's apartment buildings, and they range from like high-end luxury to like middle of the road like this one.
Which is saying something so lovely. So I think when I think of Marina Del Rey, I think of like wealthy families and maybe older people?
Yeah.
What kind of people live here?
All kinds. Like in this apartment complex, it ranges. Like there's well, because we're also rent controlled. It ranges from like young couples to there's some families here with young kids. We have neighbors that actually are directly next door neighbor is a guy who's probably in his 80s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, all ethnicities. I hear like all different languages.
Yes.
Like yeah, so it's like really diverse, wide age range.
I love it.
Yeah, there's like kids playing in the pool, and then in the afternoon it's like the kids go away.
Get out of here, kid.
And then we live above the tennis court.
I
so,
know.
yeah,
I just saw that someone came out with a little
Yeah.
tennis skirt on. I was like, you got it, girl.
Yeah, so it's nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's awesome. I'm gonna get a bunch of B-roll of the cats playing. Thanks for coming along on this journey, y'all. Go ahead and give this video a like if it was helpful. Subscribe to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.